Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. The new film coming your way is Eurovision Song Contest, and one of the participants is the great Pierce Brosnan. Pierce, obviously growing up in Ireland, you must have had some aspects of your youth where you may have watched this show.
I never watched the show in Ireland. I mean, I left Ireland when I was a lad of 11 years of age, and there was no television that I remember seeing. But growing up in London, in South London, Eurovision was a very strong part of the culture there. Everything stopped for the Eurovision Song Contest. Whether you loved it or hated it, everybody watched it, and everybody loved it, really. Even the ones who kind of, made fun of it or anything like that. It was you kind of waved the flag for your nation, whether it was in Finland, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, wherever. And it was a joyful event. So when I was presented with this film with Will Ferrell, who I'm a huge fan of, I was very happy to jump on board and to play his father. And the concept was original and endearing. This family that comes from Iceland, Húsavík, this young man and young woman who fall in love, childhood sweethearts, and they want to sing in the Eurovision Song Contest. And I play the father of Will, who's a kind of rather grumpy fisherman who is a widower, drinks too much, and, chases the women. And
so let me ask you in regard to that. I mean, obviously, over the course of your careers, you've had many different professions that you've had to showcase. How good of a fisherman would you be? Do you ever go out fishing?
I go out fishing. The water is right there. I'm not a great fisherman. I like going out on calm days. We live here on the north shore of Kauai, and these are big seas, big ocean. So I do from time to time go out with friends, throw the line in. You can actually fish right off the shore here. I've never done it, actually, but I see a lot of the lads go out there and do it. I don't know what kind of fisherman I would have made, but when we did that sequence in the film, the Eurovision, the sea had some character to it that day, and it was a great day's work. And when you see the movie, you'll see what I'm talking of. But being in Húsavík and in the company of all the Icelandic people there was very memorable. I got to travel on this film with my wife, Keely. So we went to London and made the film. And then we went to Scotland, Edinburgh, hung out there and made the film, and then in Iceland. So it's a joy to see it being so well received and celebrated by you folks in the press and the media. Mm-hmm. I think it has heart, and I think it comes at a really lovely time in all our lives.
I want to ask you as well, but you mentioned about your wife, because in this movie, there's a very intriguing relationship with your son, where we're not quite sure how proud of you are with him at the beginning of the movie. I'm not going to tell audiences what happens towards the end. And I had the pleasure of being with you at the Golden Globes this year and seeing the pride that you had with your two sons. So I was wondering if you could talk about parental pride. That, I'm sure with all your kids, you're proud, but just talk a little bit about that.
Well, that night of the Golden Globes that you speak of was a wonderful celebration for my wife Keely and I, as mother and father to Dylan and Paris, and to see them acquit themselves so grandly on a very big stage in the company. And that room that night was a big room. I have done the Golden Globes, been participant and a nominee a number of times now, but that night was one of the great Hollywood nights for me, to see Dylan and Paris just stand there and shine in their youth, and to quiver on the stage, because there's nowhere to hide when you're on a stage. You have to show yourself, and they acquitted themselves grandly. And I don't know. There's something very deeply spiritual about it when you see your children succeed. it's hard to really put it into words. But I've been a father a long time, and I have 4 sons, and it's always a challenge.
Just a last quick question for you. If you had to perform at the Eurovision Song Contest and you could sing any song you want, what would be the song in your wheelhouse that you would feel comfortable doing?
Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run.
Wow. Feel free to share some of it right now.
I think I'll have to go and rehearse. Maybe a Van Morrison song, but I love Bruce's music. I love Van Morrison's music. I love Leonard Cohen's music. These are Sting. Love his songs. Great poets.
As always, such a pleasure. Pierce Brosnan,
Yes.
Thank you so much. The movie Eurovision, and this is Scott Orlin. Till next time.
Thank you, Scott. All the best. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.